Twitter's blowing up, right, with offers at the moment. But yeah,
yes.
It's almost like we're taking it out.
Welcome to Rumble Recap, where we uncover the untold stories of wrestling's biggest moments. Ronda Rousey's WWE journey is one such story, a mix of triumph, pressure, and vulnerability rarely seen by fans. In a recent interview, Ronda opened up about her WWE career in ways that were raw, honest, and reflective. She spoke about her debut at WrestleMania 34, the emotional challenges she faced in adapting from MMA to wrestling, and the personal toll that the spotlight and criticism took on her. Her story isn't just about matches, it's about the human side of the world's most dramatic sport. The MMA icon steps into WWE before WWE. Ronda was an unstoppable force in mixed martial arts. Born in Riverside, California, she won Olympic bronze in judo in 2008 and became the UFC's first women's bantamweight champion. She was fierce, disciplined, and revered globally. Transitioning to WWE meant leaving that world of control behind. In the UFC, Ronda dictated the fight. In WWE, she was part of a scripted story. Her debut at WrestleMania 34, teaming with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, was a defining moment. Over 78,000 fans cheered, millions watched worldwide, and Ronda was ready to prove that she could dominate in the squared circle too. The WrestleMania 34 debut, Ronda's first WWE match, was electrifying. She traded blows with Triple H, flipped Stephanie around with ease, and locked in her armbar, forcing Stephanie to submit. The crowd erupted, and critics praised her debut as one of the best celebrity appearances in WWE history. But beyond the cheers, the experience left her vulnerable. A powerful move from Triple H, a textbook powerbomb, showcased her strength and adaptability, but it also symbolized the moment when Ronda realized she wasn't in total control anymore. Unlike the cage, where she dictated the pace, WWE required trust, timing, and patience, and that shift weighed heavily on her. Facing criticism and cyberbullying, the aftermath of WrestleMania 34 introduced a side of fame Ronda hadn't fully experienced. While most fans celebrated her performance, a minority online turned the moment into a source of ridicule. Harsh personal attacks flooded forums, social media, and comment sections, often crossing the line into cruel and sexist territory. Ronda described the experience as humiliating and emotionally exhausting. Sleepless nights, constant replaying of the match in her mind, and the feeling of being misunderstood by the public took a toll. This period highlighted the darker side of fan culture and how online scrutiny can magnify even scripted moments into personal attacks. The physical and mental demands of WWE's schedule is grueling. Superstars travel constantly, perform hundreds of shows a year, and rarely get downtime. Ronda spoke openly about how this pace affected her body and mind. Injuries, tight travel schedules, and non-stop appearances left her drained, contrasting sharply with MMA, where she could focus on training for specific fights. The physical demands were compounded by creative restrictions, leaving her frustrated. Despite being a star, she often felt she couldn't fully express herself or explore the storytelling depth she wanted. Her honesty reveals the challenges that even elite athletes face in adapting to wrestling's unique rhythm and expectations. Creative frustration and unmet expectations. Ronda's wrestling career included solid matches and memorable feuds with performers like Alexa Bliss and Nikki Bella. Yet she admitted she wanted more meaningful storytelling. Many of her matches were shorter than she desired, and her creative input was often limited. She wanted to build narratives that resonated with fans, but the system didn't always allow it. This disconnect, combined with the physical and emotional toll, created a sense of isolation and frustration. Her experience sheds light on the challenges wrestlers face in balancing personal ambition with organizational expectations. Advocating for women in wrestling. Despite these challenges, Ronda remained committed to improving the women's division. She noticed disparities in match lengths, storytelling opportunities, and prominence compared to male counterparts. Ronda advocated for equality, emphasizing that women deserved main event opportunities and fully realized narratives. Her push reflected her broader mission to elevate women in the industry, ensuring that future generations could compete on equal footing. Even as she stepped back from WWE, her influence helped draw attention to the importance of representation, fairness, and recognition in professional wrestling. Family, healing, and reflection. After WrestleMania 35, Ronda chose to step away from WWE, prioritizing her personal life and family. She married Travis Brown and welcomed their daughter, Lakia, in 2021, finding joy and perspective outside the spotlight. This period allowed her to recover physically, emotionally, and creatively. She explored new avenues, including acting and writing, and reflected on the lessons WWE had taught her. Her recent interviews and candid reflections demonstrate a willingness to share struggles, emphasizing resilience, self-awareness, and the importance of mental health for professional athletes. Lessons from Ronda Rousey's journey. Ronda Rousey's WWE story is about more than wins or losses. It's a testament to the human side of professional wrestling. Her experiences highlight the pressures of fame, the weight of criticism, and the challenges of adapting to new roles. They remind fans that wrestlers are not invincible. They are people navigating complex careers, balancing performance, creativity, and personal well-being. Ronda's journey offers lessons about resilience, advocacy, and the importance of supporting athletes both inside and outside the ring. Her honesty invites reflection, empathy, and a deeper appreciation for the dedication behind every performance. The weight of vulnerability hat single move at WrestleMania 34 stripped away a layer of armor Ronda Rousey had carried throughout her extraordinary career. In the UFC, she was in complete control, dictating the pace of every fight, anticipating every counter, and orchestrating every moment inside the octagon. Her victories were decisive, earned through skill, strategy, and an indomitable competitive spirit. In WWE, however, she faced an entirely different reality. Professional wrestling demanded trust in others, timing that could not be solely dictated by her, and a willingness to become part of a narrative she did not fully control. That powerbomb delivered by Triple H, a move perfectly executed in the technical sense, made her feel small, exposed, and vulnerable, not just physically but emotionally, in front of a live crowd of over 78,000 and millions more watching from around the world. The sensation of being out of control, of having to rely on trust and collaboration rather than her own precision, hit her deeply. It wasn't about the execution of the move itself. It was about what it symbolized. A profound shift from the invincibility she had known in the UFC to the uncertainty of stepping into a world where she could not dictate the outcome. Ronda realized that even someone as disciplined, facing criticism. The physical challenge of WrestleMania 34 was only half of what Ronda had to endure. Once the match aired and clips circulated online, she was thrust into the glare of public scrutiny. While many fans celebrated her debut and marveled at her transition from MMA to WWE, others dissected every move with a critical eye that went far beyond constructive commentary. Ronda described sleepless nights spent replaying the match, second-guessing herself, and wrestling with questions about whether she truly belonged in the WWE universe. The speed at which criticism spread amplified her feelings of exposure and self-doubt. For someone accustomed to facing opponents one-on-one in a controlled environment, the sudden, intense judgment of an online audience was overwhelming. It was a stark reminder that public perception is a powerful force, and that even the most resilient athletes are not immune to feelings of inadequacy when their every action is evaluated by millions. Ronda's experience illustrates a broader truth. Fame and achievement do not protect anyone from vulnerability. The intensity of online scrutiny, amplified by social media, can transform a professional challenge into a personal crucible, testing emotional resilience and forcing even the strongest individuals to confront their insecurities in very public ways. The challenge of transitioning between sports. Ronda's journey from the octagon to the squared circle highlights the unique challenges athletes face when crossing into a new sport with entirely different demands. In the UFC, she thrived on strategy, conditioning, and personal control. Each bout was an extension of her preparation, where skill and instinct governed every move. WWE, however, required a different set of skills. narrative awareness, timing, choreography, and the ability to trust that other performers would execute moves safely and effectively. The shift demanded flexibility, humility, and a willingness to embrace vulnerability in a highly visible arena. Beyond technical challenges, the schedule in WWE was grueling. Unlike MMA, where athletes typically have months between fights to recover and train, WWE performers operate on a nearly relentless schedule, performing multiple times a week, traveling across cities, and maintaining the stamina and charisma necessary to engage live audiences night after night. This rigorous pace imposed both physical and mental stress, and for Ronda, who was accustomed to pacing her energy and managing her fights meticulously, the demands were extraordinary. She spoke openly about the steep learning curve, the creative limitations that sometimes left her frustrated, and the constant expectation to maintain the persona of the confident, unstoppable star fans expected. Emotional impact and reflection. The emotional toll of WrestleMania 34 was profound and enduring for Ronda. She described feelings of humiliation, not because the physical move was poorly executed, but because it represented a departure from the certainty and control she had always relied upon. In MMA, she was the master of her destiny. In WWE, she was part of a carefully constructed narrative that demanded obedience, trust, and an openness to risk that was unfamiliar and disorienting. Ronda reflected on questioning her value as a performer, evaluating her place in WWE, and coping with the weight of public judgment and commentary. Her candid admission about the emotional strain reveals an essential truth about professional wrestling and life in the spotlight. No amount of talent, fame, or accomplishment insulates anyone from self-doubt and vulnerability. By sharing her experience, Ronda humanized herself to fans, demonstrating that even icons face moments of fragility. She reminded viewers that strength is not the absence of vulnerability, but the courage to acknowledge it and continue moving forward. The importance of mentorship and support. Ronda's transition into WWE also illustrated the critical role of mentorship and guidance in professional sports. Navigating a new environment, particularly one as complex and public as WWE, is not a solitary endeavor. Veteran wrestlers, producers, and coaches provided guidance, but Ronda's experience underscores how vital structured support systems are for mental and emotional health. Mentorship offers not just technical advice, but emotional reassurance and perspective. Wrestlers are asked to perform at peak levels while maintaining the illusion of character and control. Without supportive networks, the pressure can become overwhelming. Ronda's story encourages organizations and audiences alike to recognize that behind the spectacle, performers are human beings, balancing extraordinary demands, deserving respect, guidance, and care. The broader impact on women's wrestling. Ronda's candid reflections also shed light on the evolving landscape of women's wrestling. As a pioneer who helped elevate the visibility of female athletes in a male-dominated industry, she encountered both opportunities and obstacles. Her experiences revealed gaps in creative storytelling, match opportunities, and recognition. By speaking out, Ronda highlighted the necessity for equality in performance time, narrative development, and respect within the industry. Her journey demonstrates how systemic changes, when paired with the voices of trailblazers, can foster environments where performers thrive both creatively and emotionally. The lessons drawn from her experience continue to influence younger wrestlers and encourage organizations to prioritize fairness, storytelling depth, and holistic support for female talent. The breaking point. Ronda Rousey once said, "I thought I was tough enough for anything," but even she admitted that WWE broke her in a way she hadn't anticipated. The infamous powerbomb at WrestleMania 34 was more than just a physical maneuver. It symbolized a loss of control in a world where she could not dictate the outcome. In MMA, Ronda was in command, shaping every fight, every move, and every result. WWE demanded something different: trust, timing, and the willingness to let others take the spotlight. The experience left her feeling exposed, vulnerable, and emotionally raw, revealing that even the strongest athletes can face moments that shake their confidence to the core. The relentless schedule. Part of what wore Ronda down was the sheer pace of life as a WWE superstar. Over 200 shows a year, Relentless travel, no off-season. WWE's schedule is notoriously grueling. She explained, I'd finish a match, hop on a plane, and do it all again the next night. I barely saw my husband, my home. My body was screaming, my mind was fried. I wasn't living, I was surviving. Compared to the measured, intense bursts of UFC fights, WWE's unending calendar was a shock to the system, physically taxing and mentally exhausting. Every performance required energy, focus, and commitment, and the constant travel made recovery almost impossible. Even an elite athlete like Ronda struggled under the unrelenting pace, highlighting the invisible toll behind the spectacle of professional wrestling. Creative frustration. Beyond the schedule, Ronda wrestled with creative limitations. She had ideas and vision for her matches and storylines, but often felt confined to repetitive roles. It was always the same. Smile, fight, repeat, she said. Fans noticed her struggles too. While her feuds with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Bella were well received, they lacked the depth and narrative nuance she wanted. Ronda craved authenticity in her storylines, wanting fans to feel real emotion, real stakes. WWE, for all its production power, sometimes struggled to channel her energy and ideas effectively. Her frustration underscores a broader challenge. Even stars with immense talent require creative collaboration and meaningful opportunities to thrive. Championing women's wrestling, Ronda was also vocal about the disparities in the women's division. The women's evolution in WWE was real, with stars like Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks elevating the division, but gaps persisted. We'd get a fraction of the time the guys did. Our stories were rushed, our matches cut short. I wanted equality, not just a slogan, she said. She recognized the progress, but highlighted the continuing need for fair representation, equitable storytelling, and substantial match time. Her observations mirrored broader conversations in wrestling and sports about gender equality, visibility, and opportunity, illustrating that even trailblazers face systemic challenges while trying to make lasting change. The decision to step away. By 2019, the combination of relentless travel, creative frustration, and public scrutiny became too much. After WrestleMania 35, Ronda stepped away from WWE. It wasn't an abrupt exit. It was a deliberate choice for her health, family, and personal growth. She and her husband, Travis Brown, welcomed their daughter, Lakia, in 2021, and she has since explored acting and writing. Stepping back allowed her to reclaim control over her life and focus on healing, proving that even world-famous athletes need space to process, recover, and redefine themselves outside the spotlight. Her departure was not a failure. It was an act of self-preservation and reflection, a reminder that endurance has limits and that prioritizing mental and emotional health is as important as physical excellence. The impact of public scrutiny. The emotional toll of public criticism cannot be understated. Ronda's candid reflections reveal the darker side of fame, where online commentary can amplify feelings of vulnerability. While many fans celebrated her talent, others dissected her every move, sometimes unfairly. The constant gaze, the scrutiny of performance, and the commentary on personal capability compounded the stress of an already demanding career. Ronda's willingness to speak openly about this experience humanizes the challenges faced by performers who navigate fame, expectation, and judgment. It also highlights the responsibility of audiences to engage with empathy, understanding that behind the spectacle are human beings with limits, emotions, and personal struggles. Mental health and support. Ronda's story emphasizes the importance of mental health and support systems for athletes. WWE, like many high-pressure professions, requires resilience, stamina, and psychological fortitude. But no superstar can endure relentless schedules, creative constraints, and public scrutiny without support. She advocates for better mental health resources, stronger networks, and cultural shifts that protect performers' well-being. Speaking out is part of her healing process, and her reflections encourage fans, organizations, and fellow athletes to consider the human cost of entertainment. Mental health is not secondary. It is central to longevity, performance, and fulfillment. And Ronda's experience is a clear reminder of that fact. Reflection and legacy. Ronda's WWE chapter is a tale of triumph and struggle, showing both the heights of athletic achievement and the personal cost of the profession. She reached the pinnacle, headlining major events and inspiring millions, yet she also endured exhaustion, criticism, and emotional strain. Her story underscores a critical truth. Wrestlers are not invincible. They are human, navigating battles behind the scenes that fans rarely see. Through her honesty, Ronda provides insight into the realities of life in WWE, lessons in resilience, and a call for empathy from audiences. Her journey reminds us to celebrate accomplishments while acknowledging the personal sacrifices behind every performance. Closing thoughts. Ronda Rousey's story is more than a narrative about wrestling. It is a reflection on vulnerability, endurance, and self-awareness. The powerbomb at WrestleMania 34, the demanding schedule, creative frustrations, and online scrutiny were all pivotal moments that tested her both physically and emotionally. Yet, through stepping back, prioritizing family, and speaking openly, Ronda demonstrates the strength found in reflection, healing, and advocating for fairness. Her experience serves as a lesson for fans and organizations alike. Wrestlers are human, deserving of respect, understanding, and support. Her legacy goes beyond victories or losses. It lies in the courage to confront challenges honestly, set boundaries, and inspire change in the world of professional wrestling. Conclusion. Beyond the spotlight. Ronda Rousey's chapter in WWE illustrates the highs and lows of life in professional wrestling. From an explosive debut to emotional vulnerability, from relentless travel schedules to creative frustration, she experienced it all. Speaking out in interviews has been both cathartic and instructive, offering insights into the physical, emotional, and societal challenges athletes face. Her story encourages fans to approach wrestling with empathy and respect, recognizing the humanity behind the spectacle. Ronda Rousey is more than a wrestler. She is a trailblazer, a mother, an advocate, and a reminder that the greatest victories often come from resilience, reflection, and personal growth.